Okay then, so now we're looking at finding the initial velocity. I've written initial speed at the top for some reason, but that's wrong. So it's finding the initial velocity. So that's the starting speed, the speed that you started at before something starts accelerating. Okay, last time we are using the same steps, same 8 steps to find this out, and we're using the same colours to represent each of these numbers, and it tells you down here what they represent. Right, so first step, we're going to highlight the information again. So a ball is falling and being pulled down by gravity. Now in that first sentence, you might easily be tricked into thinking there's no information in there that's relevant, but there is. There is the fact that there is gravity pulling it down. And we should know that gravity pulls everything down at the same speed, at 9.81 meters per second squared. Sorry, you're just using 9.8, aren't you? So 9.8 meters per second squared. It hits the ground with a speed of 23 meters per second, so that is your final speed. That's the speed it hits the ground at. How fast would it have been falling? So how fast would it have been falling? That's our initial speed. So how fast would? So it was travelling at a certain speed before. If it was 2 meters up in the air, so that's our distance, 2 meters up. So we're kind of going backwards in time. So we're given the speed it hits the ground at, and we're working out if it's accelerating at this speed, how fast would it have been travelling 2 meters ago? So 2 meters up in the air. So again, check all those in correct units. Again, they are all in the correct units, so we don't need to convert anything, but we have already worked out that gravity is 9.8, and making a list down the side now. So starting off, V is 23 meters per second. Now U, we don't know this time. Okay, A, acceleration is 9.8 meters per second squared, and S is 2 meters. So, using these numbers now, we're going to write our equation out. Okay, so V squared minus U squared equals 2 times A times S, and straight away going to put our numbers in. So we know what V squared is. That's 23 squared minus U, we don't know, squared equals 2 times acceleration, we know is 9.8 times the distance, we know is 2 meters. Okay, and again, we're just going to simplify. So we can simplify that 23 squared. So 23 squared is 529 equals, and with this side again, like we did on the last one, we can do this whole thing in one go. So we can do 2 times 9.8 times 2, it gives us 39.2. I'm sorry, 529 on this side is then minus U squared. Oh, that's annoying. Minus U squared. Right, now we've got to rearrange this again, but this is a bit more difficult to rearrange because it's 529 minus U squared, and we don't want to end up with a minus number, a negative number, when we finish, because it's not a negative number when we finish. It was falling at the same direction as this 23 was. Now you will sometimes get it where it is a negative number, but it's got to have been going in the opposite direction. So the only time where you're going to end up with a negative number is if you have something that's coming to a stop and then starting to go the other direction. So an example would be if a car's reversing and then starts accelerating, or if someone's going from running backwards to running forwards for some reason, or running towards a point and then away from it. You're not going to get this. It's always going to be a positive number, or it should be, if I've done it right, if you get, it should be a positive number unless there is a change in direction, and in this case there isn't, according to the question. So what I need to do is make this u squared positive. So if it's negative on this side, it'll be positive on the other side. So I'm going to move that over there. So I'm going to have 529 equals 39.2 plus u squared. And now, because I've got my 39.2 is positive on this side, I can make it negative on the other side. So I can do 529 minus 39.2 equals u squared, and now we're set, now we're sorted. So 529 minus 39.2 is 489.8. Now all we need to do is square root that to find what u squared is. So I'm going to square root 489.8 equals just u on its own. So u to square root, 489.8 is 22.13. Okay, so I think this is the most difficult with the rearranging, because you basically have to swap things around. So you can think of it like you're just swapping that u squared and that 39.2 around, but if you're doing it properly, we're making the u squared positive by swapping sides, and we're making the 39.2 negative by swapping sides again, and that should work out right.